Hello and welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, my name is Perry and this is Tesla DIY. I document my Tesla Model 3 and my Tesla Model Y build progress and show you installation, DIY project and so on. And today we have another package from Pimp My EV. If you have seen my previous video, they sent me the rear reflector sequential Audi style turn signal. But I'm not going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about a new product that they sent to complete the front and rear sequential turn signal light. So here they are. And I had already installed one side and you can probably see they're on right now. This is the new turn signal fog light. And this is the OEM. You can see them side by side. So basically there are a lot more bulbs within. It actually looks kind of cool without it being on even. It kind of looks like the Phantom style Rocket Bunny FRS V1 kit with the individual LED light in the bumper. So before we go into installing these, let's go over what tools you're gonna need and how it looks and how it works. And since I have already done one side, I can say the installation is gonna be far easier than to install the rear, but you do have to know what you're doing, which I'm gonna show you right now. Alright, so right now I'm in the car showing you how it works. So with it off, it's just off obviously, and when you power it on, there's a animation. Keep an eye on the driver side. There will be an animation that goes left to right or right to left, and then eventually stays on. Okay, and then I'm gonna just flash the hazards, that way both the turn signal will go on, and you will notice that the factory fog lights are fog lights. They're not supposed to be turn signals, so you won't see the passenger coming on when the turn signal is triggered because they're fog lights. But you'll see that the new fog lights are now turn signal in sequential animation. Okay, and your headlight turn signal still remains functional. So everything's functional on this setup. Doesn't matter if it's a Asia spec or US spec. If you saw the rear bumper reflector video, you know what I'm talking about. So that's with it off, and then just the driver's side turn signal and just the passenger side turn signal. Okay, now I'm going to turn them off and just turn on the turn signal, left and now right. Okay, so that's how it works. Now let's go over and talk about the tools you're gonna need. Okay, so with the kit, all you get is two lights, left and right, and then there's a harness. If you're Model 3, or I believe it's compatible with a Model Y as well, if your car does not have the fog light enabled, that means you might not have the wiring, then you will need this bundle of wiring harness. So if your car has the fog lights already working, then you won't need it. Like in my case, I already have the fog lights enabled. I have a 2018 long range with the premium mandatory upgrade, so mine has the fog lights and you won't need these wiring. Two plugs on one end and a ground. Two of these that goes on the fog lights. With the fog lights, there's a yellow wire which you have to tap into the autopilot side camera turn signal wire. It's I believe it's like a green or teal color and a black ground. So there's only two wires in that socket, and it's not the black one, it's the teal greenish looking one. I'm going to show you. And this just plugs right into the OEM socket. And removing the fog lights, you're going to need a Torx 25 bit, and the bolts are here, number 1, number 2 and number 3. These are just holder for the wiring that secure the wire, so only 1, 2 and 3. And again, it's a Torx 25. Okay, and you're gonna need a T connector to splice the wire to basically tap the yellow wire into the autopilot side camera turn signal. I happen to have these from a previous project. I can leave a link in the description. These are really easy to use. You just clip it on, use a plier to crimp it down, and you have a solid connection. And some zip tie just to secure some access wiring. Like the yellow wire is going to be slightly too long. You're going to bundle them up securely inside and behind the fender liner. I tried turning the wheel in one direction to give myself space to work behind the bumper, which turns out I was able to remove the light, but I wasn't able to take it out because there's no space. So what I ended up doing was jack the car up, remove the front wheel, which allows me to have a lot more room to work with. So I highly recommend just take your time, take off the wheel and put the car in the air and just do it that way. That means you have to have a floor jack. I have a safe jack and a flat head just to pop off the clips on the fender liner. There's like 5 of them, I guess. One of them you might not get to with a flat head. It's on the back side. I use a pick tool, and you're also gonna need to, well, you don't have to if you can manage to unplug the socket from the back of the autopilot camera. If you can't, then you would have to do what I do, which is pop the autopilot side camera out from the fender, which I'm gonna try to show you how. I can't really get a camera behind, but and just break a bar to loosen up your wheel, impact gun if you're gonna use one. And that's probably it. So let's get started with the installation. So first thing you need to do, and I can't stress how important it is to air up your car, because without that you cannot get a jack underneath. And if you don't have a safe jack, I highly recommend you to pick up one because it's very convenient to use, and it's also very safe because it's called the safe jack. So before you lift up the car, you want to loosen up your front wheel lug nuts just ever so slightly. That way when the car is in the air, because the wheel will spin, when the wheel spins you can't break them loose if they're completely torqued down. So just break it loose. Now we can lift the car up. Now it's time to remove the wheels. I'm going to use my electric impact. Let's put these pink wheels out of the way. Now let's grab a flathead screwdriver. Okay, so here is tab number 1, tab number 2. And by the way, I hope you guys are not sick of me posting these product promotion videos. It's for the sake of sharing the installation, showing you how to do it. I couldn't even find instruction. And by the way, shout out to this guy right here. I'm gonna show you his Instagram. He have had these lights for a while now, and I honestly couldn't find how to wire the yellow wire, so he was helping me throughout. So check him out. He has a Model Y, and he's the one who showed me how to connect the wire, so shout out to him. So there's no instruction online, so here I am trying to show you guys. And judging by the previous rear reflector video, I'm assuming that you guys are okay and enjoys the content. I got about 5,000 views from that video so far. So just like that, you can pry and push away the liner, and don't worry, this is pretty flexible, and I just have it, let me show you, just got it stuck on there so it holds. And this is the light, and again, so bolt number 1, bolt number 2 somewhere here, and then bolt number 3 is back there. You can feel it with your hand, I can't show you. So basically the light goes like this, and you have screw number 1, screw number 2, and if you reach your hand back, you'll have screw number 3. Again, Torx 25. Here you go. Number 1 is out. Okay, so now all 3 screws are removed. You can see that the fog light is wiggling. You can basically pull them off now. So I'm gonna put the camera back down, pull it out. That's what she said. So pull it out. And like I said, you have to undo the wire holder. I'm gonna use a plier to crimp down this right here. I'll show you what the clip looks like. So it looks like this. So you crimp it and then pull. Hopefully you can see it. And then there's another one right there. I don't know if you can see it. Same thing. This one is white. There you go. Oh, and a connector. It's just a push connector. So I'll show you. So you push and then pull. Old one out, new one in. There is a notch on the socket. Female and male side, there's a notch. So you can't mess up. You do have to kind of wiggle it a bit. I find it's not like perfectly aligned or something. But yeah, just like that, push it in. And the most satisfying moment, peel this off. Like I said, I kind of like the look of it even when it's not on. Installing this is just reverse. Same 3 screw that we removed, just put it back, same location. So I'm just gonna pause right here and show you after I screw these in. Okay, so all 3 screws are back in, and when you put them back in, you don't have to go too crazy because it's plastic that you're screwing into, so you don't want to strip it. And I'm gonna show you this one right here. It's the one I said you can't really get to with a flat head, so I use a pick tool to remove the clip. We're now gonna try to get to the back of the fender and get to the wiring for the side camera. And on the top here, there's another one. I'm doing this really quick right now because my wife didn't tell me that she is leaving the house, and I have my car blocking hers and with my wheels off and everything. So push the fender liner down and out, and I'm going to show you. So on the back here, this white connector is the connector for the light. If you can somehow pull the wire and tap it in from here, you could do so, but I'm gonna pop the side camera off instead. And what you do is there's 2 little notch on top. You try to push it down as hard as you can to free up so the camera can slide out. And then once you feel that on the top is kind of loosened up, you can push this guy, and then there's another one on the bottom. Alright, so this is the wiring. There's electrical tape that I'm gonna just unwrap, and I'm gonna reapply new ones later. So by removing the electrical tape, you expose the wire. And trust me, I'm not colorblind. It is yellow and black here, but I swear to God, the other side is teal and black, or green and black, whatever it is. Or maybe I am colorblind. I'm not cutting the wire, I'm just opening up the electrical tape. Okay, so now pull out these T connectors. Excuse my dirty hand. The T connectors. Open them up. Alright, so they go like this. I want to put the horizontal section, line it up with the yellow wire, and just crimp it in. You should hear a click, not hearing it, but pretty sure it's good enough. Twist it a little bit, just make sure it cut through the wire. And then you're gonna take the yellow wire, because we're gonna hide it behind the fender liner, and we're gonna just go from the back for now. Make sure you loop it from the back and out, because eventually you're gonna put this back in. I mean, unless you did it all with the camera attached. Here's, take this wire, shove it into the vertical section. There's like a little hole, stick it in as far as you can. That's what she said. And then just, again, crimp it down. There you go, I heard the click. And before you put back everything, just test the light and make sure they work. Alright, once you confirm that they do work, add a new strip of electrical tape just to protect it. Alright, so now just pull the wire back in, put this back, put the camera back on, just give it a push, and you hear the click and you know it's good. Now here's a little trick that I did. I'm not sure if I would recommend it to you guys, but this is what I did. So I don't want this wire to be all dangling, so what I did is I make a loop like this. I take one of these clip, push it in, loop it around this guy, pull it tight so it doesn't come off, and then I push it in. That way at least I know this section of the wire is never gonna drop down from the front or anywhere I don't want it. And then for the front, just tuck it in, run it to right around here, and then what I did is I zip tied it to this bracket right here. So this is where you're gonna use the zip tie, and just ideally I guess I should have ran around this. So keep in mind, if you're doing yours, maybe you want to route the wire above this frame before you go around and to the back to the camera. So I didn't do that. Even though this is the second time I do this, I'm just gonna secure it like this and call it a day. Just one more. Alright, so that is it. Put your liner back on, and don't forget the one that I said you can't use a screwdriver to get to. There's one more. Right, that's it. Alright, so this is it. Everything is installed and put back together. As you can see, even with the lights off, you can see these giant LEDs, which I think looks pretty cool. Once again, I want to reference the Rocket Bunny V1 kit for the FRS. I personally think it's pretty cool, and then obviously when it's lights up, it's also pretty cool. And for those of you who are not a subscriber and wondering why my car looks like this, I am on air suspension. So basically, on my phone or with the controller in the car, I can easily change the ride height to stupid load. And of course I don't drive like this. There's a drive height preset. What you saw earlier was a full height, which is higher than a factory spec Model 3, I think. But anyways, let's see the lights on. Now everything is off, and this is just with the parking light on, and then you saw the animation, and then I'll do the hazard light. You see the sequential amber turn signal, and then individual left turn, right turn. And then with the lights off, signal left, signal right. Alright, and again, if you're not a subscriber, you probably don't know what this is. I designed and 3D printed these 5-speed stick shift manual cup holder shifter. You can check my last video. So yeah, links in the description if you guys want to buy this, and check out the video as well. I'll leave a link to where you can buy these fog lights as well. And until then, I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.